All right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. Sorry, Echo, for taking your time to come and to the ALS Association Connecticut Chapters Ask the Expert series. We will be doing, the topic will be home modification, accessibility, safety, and I am excited to welcome our guest speaker, Amy Fink. I so appreciate your time. She is a certified aging in place specialist, a certified environmental access consultant, and she has lots of experience and knowledge in helping people be safe in their homes. So I want to thank and welcome Amy Fink from Lifeway Mobility.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share this information because it really, I teach, as we were talking about just a minute ago, I teach a lot on a lot of different topics, but this one is especially meaningful to me. A number of years ago, I was contacted by a client. She was newly diagnosed with ALS, and she lived in a beautiful home and had a lot of financial resources available to her. So she hired a team of professionals. She hired architects and designers and me and other professionals to help her address how should she modify her home, what should she do. And we discussed modifications in her home from things that were very simple to significant modifications. But one of my big takeaways was that when you have your team of professionals, it's really important to have people that understand ALS and understand the person, like you as a person, who is trying to make those changes, what are you trying to accomplish, and take a holistic approach. And for example, you might have an architect who's following a code, and the code might say, put a grab bar at this height or put a light switch at this height. But you really have to take that information and interpret it and really know what is the right modification to make for a particular individual, taking into account all of their circumstances. So that really stuck with me. And, so I'm really glad to have the opportunity to share this information. And really, I am here to answer your questions. What I'm planning to discuss is, how do you know what parts of your home present the hurdles? You may know that already, or you may still be wondering, did I miss something? Is there an area that I haven't thought of? And then what options do I have to make modifications? Because I think knowledge is power, and you can really empower yourself by knowing what your choices are. If something intrigues you, you can find out how much it costs and then kind of make a decision of what makes sense for you. So I'm here to answer your questions. So please, at any time, jump in either in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions so that I can get you the most information possible, most important for you. So a little bit about Lifeway Mobility, because the presentation I'm sharing with you today exceeds the scope of Lifeway services, but Lifeway services include help with ramps, stair lifts, things like tub cutouts and vertical platform lifts or wheelchair lifts. And I'll go through some of these things in the presentation. And we also help with things like elevators. We serve the entire state of Connecticut as well as other locations. And Brian Kosker is joining us on the call today, and he is a key contact person for you, as well as the ALS Association, knowing how to reach us as well. But what we're going to talk about today are the top 4 barriers in the home when it comes to accessibility. And by accessibility, I mean literally being able to get around your home and accomplish your activities of daily living, or the things you need to do every day to just function within your home. And from my experience, there's really 3 key areas. It's getting in and out of the house, changing levels or getting up and down the stairs within the home, and then bathroom safety. That's where we see the most questions, but really this applies anywhere a transfer takes place within the home. So you may be thinking, I have an easy chair in my living room. That's my favorite chair to get in and out of. So it really applies wherever transfers are taking place. So we're going to go through these areas of the home and talk about options and solutions. And really a starting point when you're considering this for your own home is a home assessment. And you can start with a home assessment by simply, doing a walkthrough throughout your home to see what, comes up, like, is there clutter? Is it dark? Do I have, there's always that quintessential throw rug, and everybody knows we're supposed to pick up throw rugs. But Lifeway offers a free assessment if that's something that you're interested in, where we take a look at those 3 key areas of the home. And we've been working for years with the ALS Association, and we're happy to do those assessments. And it's especially valuable because we're getting, working in tandem with your ALS team. So it's something that you can take advantage of. But, the starting point is taking a look in the home and seeing which areas of the home are of concern to you and where you see that there's going to be issues. And when, we're doing a home assessment, you're taking into account factors like obviously what the house looks like. The person is number one, what are my needs as the individual needing the modifications, of course, budget. And then other factors like, is the person going to be alone or have a caregiver? Do you need to plan for wheelchair or use? And, what is the timing on something like that? And, planning, really when you're thinking of modifications, you're thinking of now and in the future, taking a look at the whole picture so that you can just make wise decisions as you go. So when it comes to getting in and out of the house, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with really simple things like you can add a railing to the steps to get in and out of your house. Because whenever I go out and do an assessment, I'm starting with the smallest possible change and kind of working up from there. So a railing is helpful both for the steps outside, or sometimes you have steps inside the house, and it doesn't have to be, it can be a beautiful railing, or it can be as simple as putting a grab bar in a wall to give somebody some support to hold on to as appropriate. Sometimes, many times, a railing is not all that is needed, and we're looking at something like a ramp. And what you're seeing here is a modular aluminum ramp. And I am famous for being a ramp geek because this is my favorite type of ramp because first of all, you can put it in and remove it when you no longer need it. You can rent them as well as buy them. And they're maintenance free because, people have a lot of things on their mind, and maybe home maintenance isn't top of the list. So it's really nice to know that you can put that ramp in, like set it and forget it. It's also pretty quick to get the ramp installed and like I said, easily removed. So there's a lot of reasons that, I prefer the modular aluminum ramp. Of course, ramps are available elsewhere for, made out of wood. Getting a wooden ramp, some people might say that they prefer the wooden ramp because it's prettier maybe, or because they can build it into their home a little bit more, but it is a permanent structure attached to your house. And it is just more labor intensive and more time consuming. But again, this is about you understanding your options. So, that's when it comes to ramps, the location of the ramp is very important. So oftentimes, like we will look at putting the ramp inside the garage because then you're out of the weather, the New England weather of rain and snow and whatever else you're going to deal with. It's kind of nice to be undercover. But the ramp will be located in the place that makes the most sense to you and the budget, because we're going to look at the place where we can just more efficiently put that ramp into place. Sometimes people say to me, well, I can just have my handyman build a ramp. And I had a scenario with a individual who called me up. She lived in East Hartford, and she called me up and said, I had my handyman put in this ramp here, and she thought she saved money, but she ended up not really saving money because she had to get this ramp removed because it was way too steep for her. There was really no good railings to hold on to. The end of the ramp, it was a rocky and uneven surface, and the beginning of the ramp next to the house didn't have a large enough platform for her to feel comfortable on. So I would just say, if you are interested in a ramp, it is well worth it to get at a minimum, get an evaluation from a professional who knows ramp requirements, and find out what your ramp, how it should be configured, what it should look like, and make sure that it's the right pitch and safe for you to use. So sometimes ramps are not the best solution because the way a ramp is laid out, the length of the ramp depends on the rise that you're trying to address. And sometimes you might have a really, like a lot of stairs or a big rise and have a very long ramp. And that's where somebody might consider something like a wheelchair lift, also known as a vertical platform lift. So this is, like I said, this is about showing you options, and this is another option available. At the other end of the spectrum, something really simple to do is consider a threshold ramp. And especially if somebody is using a wheelchair, but even a walker, or for anyone actually, you know, you might have that threshold or 1, 2, or 3 inch, you know, piece of metal going across your doorways. That could be not only a tripping hazard, but a real obstacle if you're in a wheelchair. So there are some simple solutions. They don't have to cost a lot of money, but they could really make it easier and more convenient and safer to get around the house. So something like this threshold ramp can be put outside, inside, depending on where you have the issue. The one that you see on the screen here is made out of, I believe, recycled tires. It's a rubber ramp, and they come in different heights, a couple of inches. They also have threshold ramps that are made out of aluminum, where you can adjust, you know, the height of the ramp, the threshold ramp. So again, that's a scenario where if you have a bump or a threshold in your home, it's worth it to get that evaluation and see, you know, what could be done for your scenario. The next area I was going to talk about is stairs within the home. And
Amy?
you know, oftentimes people
Excuse me, Amy.
Yep.
Hey, this might be a great time. We had Mr. Scully was interested in giving his own personal situation, and I didn't know if that was related to ramps or not. So maybe before we transition into other topics and discussion, if Mr. Scully, you'd like to jump in, you're more than welcome.
I'd be glad to, but my concern is that I've just recently been diagnosed and have, I would assume, more mobility than several other people participating, but I have a house that's particularly unsuited for staying in, and I'm wondering if there's a, you know, if Life Mobility were to come out here and look at this, if you ever say anything like it's not worth doing all the modifications you'd have to in order to continue staying here, perhaps you should look to move. If that's ever a directive that you give.
Brian, would you like to answer that, or would you like me to answer that?
I'll be happy to take a try at it.
And if I wasn't clear enough, please, you know.
No, that was more than clear, Mr. Scully. I think that it might be a nice combination of efforts between ourselves and possibly the ALS organization and resources that they might have as well. We can definitely give you an idea of what it would take to stay in the home that you live in, and then for you to ultimately make a final decision as to what's best for you. But however, we don't do, as Amy alluded to in the beginning of the presentation, we don't do everything in the home that you might need. So you may need to take a bathroom. You may have a half bath on the first level and prefer to have a full bath with an accessible shower. Well, currently at this time, Lifeway Mobility wouldn't be able to support you in that, but we could make suggestions.
Okay.
As far as egressing in and out of the home, we could definitely make suggestions for that and possibly help you with that with the support of the ALS Association in Connecticut here, as well as anything else up and down the stairs.
Okay. I mean, what we've been talking about so far is great. The ramps, you know, is something that would work certainly in my house, but the going forward, the other of the 4 items that you talked about that are so that you want to focus on in the house, the ramps are the one that are most easily addressed in my situation.
Yeah. I'm just going to assume, never slap me for assuming, but your bedroom is upstairs and
bedroom is upstairs. There's a stairway to get there that's somewhat narrow. The entrances to the house are great for getting in and out of at this point.
Yep.
And they would accommodate a ramp fine. There's a half bathroom on the first floor. There's no bedroom on the first floor.
Yep.
That's about it. And the bathrooms on the second floor are, at this point, I can barely, I'm down. I don't take a shower every day anymore because it's too strenuous to get in and out of the shower. So,
yeah. We would again be happy to partake in
Okay.
conversation and look at the home, help even come up with temporary solutions so that to help improve the quality of your life while you're living in your home. So maybe you could get up and down those stairs in a short-term basis. And then again, it would ultimately come down to you making the final decision. Does it make more sense for you to try to relocate or modify your home with some suggestions by ourselves, the ALS Association, and maybe a contractor?
Yeah, I think it's best if I probably just wait till the end, and if you'll probably be addressing these things, and it's sort of get you off track now from you.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, and actually, I'm really glad that you shared that, because you bring up a really good point, which is, it really having that evaluation and taking a look at your whole situation is really important. And, like Brian was saying, do you have a ability to put a bedroom on the first floor, or do you need to get up to the second floor? Kind of taking into account your whole situation, all of those factors go into your decision as to which modifications to make. And that's why having the information now, and then having an idea, like if I were to modify X, Y, and Z, it's going to cost me this much money versus if I move, which makes more sense. And I think, planning early and making those, like, so you have time to think about it, because, one thing is like, it all doesn't have to get solved today. It's just, I think, a process of gathering information, and again, working with your team of resources, including Lifeway, but then ALS Association and your doctors and just other professionals to figure out what makes the most sense for you.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. And stairs is a big issue. It sounds like your bathroom, your main bathroom and your bedroom are up the stairs, and that
Correct.
definitely creates a hurdle. So I can, talk about some of the things we can do when it comes to stairs. And of course, the first thing that comes to mind is a stair lift, which can be a permanent but also a temporary solution, because the straight stair lifts are available for rent as well as purchase. So that might be a temporary solution along your journey. And the stair lift is simply a chair that's on a motor that goes up and down the stairs on a rail. And the railing is sitting on the stairs themselves. It's not attached to the wall. So it can go on most stairs as long as you have the minimum width that is needed, so that you're basically so you have room for your knees on the stair lift. And so, one option is the stair lift if you have straight stairs. If you have a set of curved stairs, there are stair lifts that are available for curved stairways as well. Those are available for purchase but not rental, because those are custom designed for each set of curved stairs. So it is an option. I don't know if anybody has any questions about stair lifts.
Do they leave permanent marks in the treads, the stairs themselves, if you remove it?
They do. They are installed with nails or screws. Ryan would know the exact thing better, but so they do leave a small mark on your stairs, but relatively inconsequential.
Okay.
You can weigh that, but you could probably, when you remove them, patch up those holes without too big of a problem.
Okay.
So people do take them out.
If one had a straight set of stairs, say 12 or 13 stair treads long, which is could be pretty common, you would likely have 4 supporting brackets on 4 treads of stairs with 4 holes in each tread. So a total of 16, but only 4 stairs would be affected by 3/8 inch lag screws.
Okay. Thanks.
So I just wanted to share with you some pictures, because stair lifts can be put in a multitude of places. People think, on their main stairs from the first to the second floor. Sometimes they're going down to the basement if people have laundry down there. I've seen them in garages when it's a better solution, and, even outside, getting on and off of decks. So it's good to be creative and think outside the box. So stair lifts are a very versatile solution. Since I'm showing a range of solutions, and elevators are in the realm of possibility, probably not the first thing that I would suggest, but again, it depends on your entire circumstances and what makes sense for you. So I wanted to let you know that Lifeway provides elevators as well as all the other, the ramps, the stair lifts, elevators. Big area where I get a lot of questions is the bathroom. And, Richard, you pointed out, like, of course, you have to be able to get to your bathroom. But, once you're there, there's a lot of transferring going on and, potentially wet, slippery floors. So I'm going to just show you some things you can do in the bathroom. And depending on your need, like a grab bar is a good, it gives you something to hold on to when that's appropriate. And so, grab bars can be put in the tub surround if it's made out of tile, even if it's made out of tile. There's sometimes some issues when it's made out of a fiberglass tub surround, but lots of different ways to address that. There are attractive options for grab bars or 2-in-1 options where, like what you're seeing here is a towel bar that's also a grab bar, or a toilet paper holder that's also a grab bar. So it doesn't have to look like a grab bar, but these products are specifically designed to support somebody's weight as opposed to a regular towel bar, which is not designed to hold up somebody's weight. And I'm always seeing people, lean on their towel bars. It's scary. So again, grab bars are something that you can put in. There is something called a safety pole or floor to ceiling pole. And Michelle, if you think this is appropriate, I will share the video for this. Looks good. Okay, so
Yes,
I have a video that's better than my words, because what this is, it really gives somebody something very stable to hold on to. So let me show you this.
The Super Bar is an advanced floor-to-ceiling ergonomic support system that offers vertical and horizontal assistance. The horizontal bar features Healthcraft's innovative pivot and lock technology. With 8 positions placed every 45 degrees, the bar easily lifts up, moves where it's needed, and locks securely into place. The Super Bar makes transferring in any room a safe and simple task by providing one-of-a-kind centralized support that moves with the user towards their intended path. For complete in-motion support, choose the Super Bar by Healthcraft.
So one thing that's really nice about that particular product is it's a stable solution, but it's not a permanent installation. So it's not something you're going to move around on a daily basis, but you can put it in and leave it there for a while and remove it when or if you no longer need it anymore. So I've seen a lot of really good uses for that product, and just something to consider, especially if you have a scenario. Sometimes when you have those fiberglass tubs around, the grab bars installation is a challenge and can be very expensive. So this is a nice option.
Amy?
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to add a little bit more about the Super Bar and the grab bars. The Super Bar can go essentially where really nothing was before, where there's no wall. So it doesn't necessarily have to be right in the bathroom. It could be next to a chair in your living room, a couch in your living room. It could potentially be a chair in the kitchen. It could be ultimately anywhere, as long as you have a flat ceiling above you and a floor below you. And then I'm going to steal Amy's famous line here. The grab bar is probably the best bang for your buck, if applicable. So a good rule of thumb that I like to share with people when I'm doing home assessments is, and you can do this on your own, whether on your own or if you have a caregiver or a significant other, is as you navigate around your house, any areas of the home that you actually go to, and my grandfather used to do this, he'd reach and grab like the molding of a door or something along those lines. Well, wherever you go to put your hand to grab something, think about putting some type of bar or something to hold that would be a little bit more stable than the trim of a window or the edge of a counter. So just a few suggestions for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, not that many people that have famous lines about grab bars, just me. So I've been saying that for years. So another solution that I wanted to share with you is a tub cutout. This is appropriate under some circumstances and not under other circumstances. But what this is we literally cut the front of the bathtub out so that there's a 2-foot opening to be able to get in and out of that tub without climbing over the entire side of the tub. So this is maybe a short-term solution. It's relatively inexpensive as compared to remodeling, and it's also something that can get done in a day. It could be done in a variety of types of tubs, cast iron, fiberglass, steel, whatever. And it's just, like I said, it converts your tub into a step-in shower, and it is an option. But when you're thinking about this, again, you want to think, you know, what I need today and what I need down the road and what makes the most sense. But this is an option. Oftentimes people get a range of transfer benches where, you know, there's 2 feet of the bench are outside the bathtub and 2 feet are inside the bathtub, and you can slide on and across. And there's so many different types of transfer benches, but I just wanted to mention that, you know, these are an option that could, you know, prevent falling because you're transferring sitting instead of standing. I've seen transfer benches where there's a swivel chair kind of on the end, so you could sit down and then swivel and then slide over. I've seen ones where they attach actually to the side of the tub. So lots of different options when it comes to transfer benches. The one thing I also wanted to share with you, this is kind of the next step up from a transfer bench because it's a different type of product. It's a tub transfer system where, you know, somebody can, you can, in fact, I'm just going to show the video because a picture is worth a million of my words. So I have a short video here that can show it, and then we can talk about it.
The SB2T, Tub Buddy with Tilt, Tub Transfer System. Convert your bathtub into an accessible bathtub without the cost of an expensive remodel. Toolless installation in minutes, allowing you to bathe same day. This solution reduces multiple transfers, allowing users to use as a bedside commode, over the toilet commode, and bathtub transfer system.
So I wanted to show that to you because it's again, it's an option. It's very versatile, and it does reduce the number of transfers, and you know, you can transfer in that, let's say from your bed, and then it, you know, somebody can move on that device and then get over to where they are bathing. And they have things like this that work with tubs, that work with showers. There's a lot of versions of this product, and they take into account how just a lot of different factors. So something to keep in mind. In order to be thorough, because I tend to be very thorough on the topic, you know, I would be remiss in not mentioning a walk-in bathtub because people ask me oftentimes, what about a walk-in tub? A lot of times people call for that product, but then end up getting something else for so many reasons. But I wanted to share with you, walk-in tubs have doors either that swing out or swing in, depending on what your needs are. I just would caution you to keep in mind that when you get a walk-in bathtub, you have to get in it, shut the door, and then sit and wait till the water fills. And then, not to state the obvious, but before you get out, you have to, you know, decide I'm getting out, let the water drain, and then you can get out. So there's some time that it takes to, you know, when you're getting in and getting out. So sometimes it's a good solution, and oftentimes it's not really the best solution. And maybe you want to look at something like a barrier-free shower, and something like this can really work for anyone in any home. But you know, it really allows a lot of room to be able to get in and out of your shower area without any, you know, it's literally barrier-free. The floor of the showers, even with the floor of the bathroom, and you can just get right in. And so when considering something like this, it is a remodel, like Brian had mentioned. This is not something that Lifeway offers right at this time, but I wanted you to know that this is something, you know, to consider when you're looking at your own bathroom. You know, there are shower units like the one that you're seeing here, where the walls are made out of fiberglass. It looks like tile, but it's fiberglass, and they're built so that you can put grab bars wherever you want within the unit now or down the road. Oftentimes the units come with a bench that flips down off of the wall, but my recommendation pretty much 100% of the time has been to not put that in and just leave the room, like leave more room inside the shower, use your own chair, whatever you're using instead of that. So again, you're like, you may get ideas here, but then customize it for what makes sense for you. The barrier-free showers, what you're seeing here is a unit, but you can also get a tile shower. Again, it's a bigger project and more of a remodel. And that's where, like Richard, you were saying, I have to think, am I going to stay in this house? Am I moving? Take all those factors into account and see what makes sense for you under your circumstances.
Okay.
I have this slide up here though, so also you could see that a possibility is modifying your sink as well. So, if you're accommodating the home for a wheelchair, that either are, sinks and other accommodations you can make in your bathroom specifically with wheelchair use in mind.
I have done a fair amount of bathrooms in the past for individuals living with ALS. And just some quick tips. I don't know, Amy, do you get into motion lights and things of that nature?
I do not, so.
Yeah, just a few tips, which could go a long way whether you're remodeling or not, would be motion sensor lighting in a bathroom. So even for an individual who's using a walker, it's nice. You get up in the middle of the night, you walk into the bathroom, and you don't have to take your hands off of the walker like you're supposed to hold and reach in the dark to grab the light switch. So motion sensor lights are good. Whenever you do a sink like this that would be accessible from underneath, if you had to go in with a chair, if you're going to have this type of remodification done to your home, I like to put the mirror down low enough so that you can actually see yourself. A lot of people seem to miss that step when they're doing the construction, but you got to remember you might be sitting down, so you want to put the mirror lower. They have motion sensor valves for the water to come in and out, which is a nice feature as well. And heated lamps is another one, because a lot of times individuals that we work with, they do have caregivers and they're using a handheld spray nozzle, and it could probably get a little chilly in the bathroom. So to have a heated lamp in the bathroom is beneficial. And if you are doing a full remodel, you could actually consider heated floors to try to keep yourself comfortable.
Yeah, we could actually give an entire presentation.
That's right, Amy, sorry.
No, absolutely. Those are really great points. And absolutely, this is kind of a broad overview, but if you have more questions, we'll stay on as long as you need and also be available later to answer your questions as well. One thing about the bathroom that we didn't talk about is being able to fit through the door to get into your bathroom or possibly other parts of the home. So, it was something that comes up often is, do I need to widen my doors? Sometimes instead of doing the remodeling that's required to widen the door, you might be able to use what I call an offset hinge. So, by changing the hinges on your door, you might get that extra inch or two to allow it, if it's really just close, to be able to get through or not get through. So I wanted to point that out because that is a low cost, effective solution that can save a lot of headaches. I've also seen people do pocket doors or barn doors, a lot of different solutions to how to deal with narrow doorways. And again, this is another situation where thresholds, that issue of the threshold comes up. So now you're, can be on the lookout for both of those issues. A topic that I wanted to mention, but I'm not going into really here, is lift systems. Lift systems are available as freestanding. I'm sure you've probably seen the different types of freestanding units that there are. There are also lift systems that go on the ceiling, and you can actually have a track that is within one room or many rooms to get people around the home. So there are just so many different options in terms of what's possible. And it's really, like I said, what makes sense to you given your personal situation. So many of the things that I showed you are not covered by typical health insurance or Medicare. And so I don't know if you've run into that already, but some of the items like ramps and ramps and the straight stair lifts that I showed you today are available for rental as well as purchase, which is one way to get help. Sometimes there are used products for ramps and stair lifts, and Michelle might talk about how to work together with the ALS Association in connection with those products. Maybe now we're at the end, whatever makes sense for you.
Okay. How much more?
I just have a couple more slides. So you
Yeah,
want
we
me
can
to
wait.
to the end?
Yeah, we could wait till the end. Go ahead.
Till the end.
Thank
Sorry, I
you.
didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
No, it's okay. I had to find my unmute button.
And then, Lifeway does have a lot of resources on our website under lifewaymobility.com/resources, where there's tons and tons and tons of information on the ramps, the stair lifts, the wheelchair lifts, and everything you wanted to know and more. So I just wanted to share with you that link in case that's of interest. And also there is funding information on that website as well. So when it comes to funding, there are different resources. Like I know that there's a Connecticut Tech Act, which has low interest loans. I don't have the details. It's in the thousands of dollars. It's up to some tens of thousands of dollars. It's a good resource, the Connecticut Tech Act. And they're kind of a well-kept secret that a lot of people don't know about. And I'm sure there are other funding sources as well, some of which are listed on the Lifeway website. But really, I guess I started and will kind of conclude with, this is not about products, it's about people. It's about really looking at your own situation and figuring out what makes sense for you. And when I started in that scenario with my client from a number of years ago, it's great to hire an architect, but it's important that architect understands, that it's not about following the codes. It's about really making, you do want to do things legally, but you want to just make the modifications appropriate for you. That's really what it's about. It's about customizing it for a person. And, by planning ahead now, by thinking about this now, you're really empowering yourself to, just by having this information. I can't recommend enough. The ALS Association has been so amazing. They've done so much and helped so many people. So a really awesome resource. Of course, you have your medical professionals, your doctors, if you work with an occupational therapist, maybe you can find one that is familiar with ALS and specialized in this area so that you really get appropriate information. Home care when appropriate, and of course, a home access professional. And that's somebody like me or Brian and others, depending on, like I said, what it is that you are looking for. When it comes to how Lifeway can help you, again, like we help with these products you see with the ramps, the stair lifts, tub cutouts, wheelchair lifts, and elevators. And we serve the entire state of Connecticut. We have a showroom located in Hartford. So if you wanted to see any of these things in person, I would recommend calling Brian, or you can call the showroom. Our contact there, our person there is Tabitha, and I will have her number actually on the next slide here. If you can always reach out to the general Lifeway number, but if you really want to get, if you want to make that showroom appointment or have other questions, Tabitha, there's her number on the screen there. And I do have a PDF of this presentation that Michelle will give you an updated version because I added Tabitha's number here, so you have a person to be able to talk to. So that's pretty much what I was going to cover. If you have more questions, I'd be happy to help you with those. And Michelle, I don't know if you want to say a couple of words.
Yes, I'm going to have our Director of Programs, Amy Chickles, kind of tie in how we work so closely with you guys for our ramp and stair lift program.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to talk a little bit about our mobility program here at the ALS Association Connecticut chapter. So we work with Lifeway Mobility on the ramps and stair lifts. And because we have some very generous donors, we are able to cover most or all of the cost. Because Lifeway uses the modular pieces, they can be reused. And so, once a family is finished with those, they kind of come back to Lifeway and then can be used for someone else. So it's a really great program. The other thing I wanted to briefly mention is that some of the things that Amy talked about, like the transfer benches, Hoyer lifts, things like that, we do have some of those in our loan closet, depending on availability. And so if that's something that interests you or that you have questions about, those are sometimes available as well. And then the third thing I wanted to mention is that the National ALS Association has a person who will do a virtual home accessibility tour with you via an iPad or a smartphone, something like that. She gets on, via FaceTime or Zoom or whatever works best for the family, and you walk her through the house. And similar to what Lifeway Mobility does, she kind of gives you some tips and things to think about, and what kind of equipment or grab bars or things like that. So that's another option, as well as Lifeway Mobility and some other folks as well. So if you have questions about the ALS Association programs, obviously you can contact me or Michelle or Jessica, and we're always happy to help with that.